y'all, it's Ellie at Game Conclave. Thanks a ton for watching. Today we're talking about sequels that nailed it. Sequels so good they had a profound impact on raising the bar, either for their series or genre, or even gaming as a whole. You ready to hop into the video? Uncharted 2. Among Thieves came out and completely changed the game. While we love Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, the second game just nailed everything. The story is even more epic, beginning with Drake near death's door and immediately hooking you into an emotional tale with higher stakes and better pacing than the first title. It also has significantly better set pieces. The train sequence, the monastery siege, the snow village, the temple escape. Hell, nearly every location is iconic. Uncharted 2 simply raised the bar for spectacle in action-adventure games. The platforming, shooting, and hand-to-hand combat all feel smoother and more polished. Enemy AI was improved, making encounters more challenging and dynamic. Among Thieves mixes over-the-top action with quiet character moments, exploration, and puzzles more effectively than the first game, leading to a far more balanced experience. It's also got better graphics, animations, and cinematic direction that made it feel like the quintessential Hollywood action flick. Uncharted 1 launched the series, but Uncharted 2 perfected the formula. It's bigger, better written, more exciting, and more fun. There's a reason it's still considered one of the best games ever made. Assassin's Creed 2 was a massive improvement over the first game in almost every way. The world was larger and far more varied. Instead of a bunch of similar-looking Middle Eastern cities, we got Florence, Venice, Forlì, and more. Ezio is charismatic, funny, and ultimately a far better protagonist than Altair. We start his journey as a hot-headed young man and watch him grow into a full-fledged assassin by the end. It lets us really get to know our debonair Italian assassin. Assassin's Creed 2 also had much deeper progression and customization. You could upgrade Ezio's equipment, buy properties, renovate the family villa, and unlock new weapons. Building up your own little Italian villa was so damned fun. It also had way more gameplay variety than the first game. New abilities like swimming, dual hidden blades, hiring mercenaries, and using courtesans to distract guards gave us so many different ways to approach missions. Combat felt much smoother too, with more weapon types so you could find your own playstyle. The side content was also much better. Between tombs, glyphs, codex pages, and assassination contracts, there was a lot more to do than just collecting flags. The revenge plot, the Auditor family drama, and historical figures like Leonardo da Vinci and Machiavelli made the story far more engaging than the first game, which felt like it was mostly carried by its modern-day sections. Overall, Assassin's Creed 2 took the foundation of the first game and made it feel complete bigger, more fun, and way more memorable. It's the game that really turned Assassin's Creed into a major franchise.
It is a good life we lead, brother.
The best. May it never change.
And may it never change us.
Batman: Arkham Asylum came out and stunned everyone. A licensed game that wasn't a cheap cash grab, an actual legitimately good Batman game. Then along came the sequel, Batman: Arkham City, and it did the unthinkable. It one-upped Asylum. Asylum had a tight, more linear experience inside the Asylum walls, but Arkham City gave us a large, open world. We got an entire cordoned-off section of Gotham City to freely explore. The scale was just dramatically bigger, with Arkham City being roughly 5 times larger than the Asylum. New mechanics like the line launch, dive bombs, and glide kicks truly let us play as the Dark Knight. Combat felt even smoother, more gadgets were added, and there were tons of new takedowns. The story also upped the stakes with Batman running into far more of his rogues gallery throughout the game. Arkham City has even more content and gameplay improvements, including more Riddler trophies, side missions, and the ability to play as Catwoman and Robin. The combat and stealth systems were refined, and we got bigger set pieces and better boss fights. Arkham Asylum walked so that Arkham City could run and show the world how a superhero game should be done.
It was all a lie. There's nothing wrong with you.
Nice of you to say, but you of all people should know there's plenty wrong with me.
Half-Life 2 was a massive leap forward from the original Half-Life, which was already a phenomenal game. With the new Source engine came advanced physics. The gravity gun turned the world into a playground. You could pick up and throw objects, solve creative puzzles, and use the environment and combat in ways the first game couldn't dream of. The world felt more alive and believable. City 17, Ravenholm, the Coast, and Nova Prospect all had distinct identities. While it was still relatively linear, the more open-ended design created a brilliant illusion of freedom that made it feel less like a series of corridors. The story feels more epic and emotional. The oppressive atmosphere of the Combine rule was conveyed brilliantly through environmental storytelling. Fighting Combine soldiers, striders, gunships, and headcrab zombies feels much more dynamic thanks to the advanced AI. Enemies think and strategize in ways they didn't in the first game. The Source engine also allowed for much better graphics, facial animations, and physics, making the world feel more real. Half-Life 1 was revolutionary for its time, but Half-Life 2 took the formula and made it bigger, smarter, more immersive, and more fun to play. It raised the bar for the entire FPS genre. Mass Effect 2 is widely regarded as a huge improvement over the first game. Mass Effect 2 has a much stronger story and characters. From the suicide mission and loyalty missions to the deep crew interactions, the story feels far more personal and emotional than our first foray into the Mass Effect world. The crew is way more memorable than the original squad, with big personalities like Jack and Miranda, and returning crewmates from the first game, like Garrus and Tali, get further fleshed out. While the first game had a lot of slow exploration and side quests hopping from planet to planet, Mass Effect 2 is tighter, more focused, and filled with high-stakes missions that feel like playing a season of one of the greatest television shows of all time. The combat mechanics were completely overhauled. Mass Effect 2 finally feels like a proper third-person shooter, with better gunplay, powers, and a superior cover system, whereas Mass Effect 1's combat always felt kind of clunky and awkward. The presentation of the second game went totally epic. The cinematics, music, and overall production values were a big step up. The suicide mission finale is still one of the best sequences in gaming history. Bottom line, while Mass Effect 1 was groundbreaking for its time and introduced the universe, Mass Effect 2 refined everything. Tighter gameplay, better writing, stronger characters, and more emotional investment. There's a reason so many consider it the peak of the trilogy.
I am the very model of a scientist Solarian. I've studied species Turian, Asari, and Batarian.
Suikoden 2 is a huge step up from the first game. It has a much stronger story and characters, and it feels more personal and emotionally engaging. The writing is excellent. It has morally gray areas and dozens of memorable characters. Luca Blight is often considered one of the finest villains in RPG history. The first game's story was solid, but far more straightforward in its depiction of good versus evil. The army management is also improved. You can set up squads with captains and support units that boost stats and grant special skills and passives to your army. The party-based battles feel smoother, with better balance between physical and magical characters. There are more runes available, and some characters can equip multiple runes, letting you create specialized parties and pull off powerful unit attacks more easily than in the first game. The world feels much larger too, with more nations getting pulled into the conflict and way more lore and world building than the first game. While both games have serious emotional weight, Suikoden 2 has several powerful tragic moments and multiple possible endings based on your choices and recruitment. The story also explores themes like hatred and revenge, friendship and loyalty, the human cost of war, the complexities of geopolitics, and redemption. While Suikoden 1 laid a great foundation, Suikoden 2 refined everything. Deeper story, better characters, combat improvements, and multiple endings. There's a reason so many consider it one of the best JRPGs of the PS1 era. The Silent Hill series is one of the pillars of horror gaming. While the first game is widely beloved, the second game is truly something special and elevated the genre as a whole. Silent Hill 2 features a stronger and even more personal story. It weaves a deeply psychological tale about guilt, grief, denial, and self-punishment. The character writing is also much better. James Sunderland, Maria, Angela, and the rest of the cast are far more memorable. They're personal demons, and the town's manifestations are unforgettable. Combat feels better balanced, exploration is more rewarding, and the puzzle design is stronger. You spend more time investigating the town, solving clever environmental puzzles, and carefully managing your limited resources while trying to survive the horrors around every corner. The game also makes much better use of the town's symbolism, with environments that feel deeply tied to the story. Silent Hill 1 was a groundbreaking game that helped create the survival horror template. Silent Hill 2 took that template and dialed it up to 11 by focusing on psychological depth, emotional storytelling, and symbolic horror. Like many of the other games on this list, it's not just considered the best in its series, it's often called one of the best games of all time.
I was weak. That's why I needed you. Needed someone to punish me for my sins.
Borderlands 2 was a huge improvement over the first game. The story is more focused, zany, humorous, and memorable. Handsome Jack is one of the best antagonists in gaming, and the writing has way more personality and memorable moments than the first game. The gameplay loop was a huge step up. The gun variety is exponentially better, with way more unique weapons. The loot feels more rewarding, and the shooting is tighter and more fun. All 6 Vault Hunters have distinct fun playstyles with much deeper skill trees. The first game's characters felt more limited, while the second game lets you create way more diverse builds. The world is bigger, more colorful, more bizarre, and far more interesting. Locations like Sanctuary, Opportunity, and the various environments feel way more alive and unique than most places in the first game. Borderlands 1 may have put the looter-shooter genre on the map, but Borderlands 2 refined everything. Better writing, better guns, better characters, and a ton more fun. It cemented the genre as a staple in gaming. Hitman 2. Silent Assassin has a much clearer identity than Hitman, codename 47. The levels in Hitman 2 are larger, more open, and offer way more creative freedom. Locations like the St. Petersburg Opera House, Kuala Lumpur, and the Japanese gardens feel alive and are filled with different ways to eliminate your targets, poisoning their food, sneaking into their room with a garrote, or sniping them from a distance. This open-ended approach to assassinations was a huge improvement over the first game, giving each mission tons of replayability as you experimented with brutal or stealthy methods. The second game's AI was refined, and it introduced better sneaking mechanics, more disguises, and introduced non-lethal options which the first title lacked. The Silent Assassin rating system encouraged creative, clean playthroughs, but didn't discourage fun. It also featured better graphics, more memorable music, and a more polished overall feel, though it still had some fun jank and hilarious ragdoll physics. Codename 47 introduced us to Agent 47, but Silent Assassin took the formula and turned it into the stealthy sandbox series we know and love today.
A mission?
Exactly. If you accept, I might be able to give you the requested information very soon. What do you say, 47? Still sharp enough to handle a job these days?
Street Fighter 2 was such a massive step up from Street Fighter that most people have never even played or heard of the original game. The first Street Fighter was something in between a beat-em-up and what we think of as a modern fighting game. The blueprint for the modern fighting game ultimately comes from its sequel, Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 1 only had 2 playable characters, Ken and Ryu, who were basically identical gameplay-wise except for their visual design. Street Fighter 2 launched with 8 unique fighters, each with completely different movesets and playstyles. While the first game introduced special techniques, there were only a handful of moves beyond basic attacks. Street Fighter 2 introduced dozens of moves for each character, resulting in a game that was far more strategic and skill-based. Street Fighter 2 also turned fighting games into a true competitive sport. Instead of just fighting CPU opponents as part of the story, players started going head-to-head against each other in arcades around the world. Each character in Street Fighter 2 also had their own unique stage with memorable music and backgrounds. The visuals were a big upgrade from the first game, with much smoother animations and better hit detection. The ability to chain moves together into combos, combined with the overall polish and depth, turned Street Fighter 2 into a global phenomenon. Street Fighter was essentially a prototype. Street Fighter 2 took those concepts and executed them so well that it set the standard for an entire genre for decades to come. As always, thanks for watching. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. This is Ellie and Game Conclave, signing off.